This episode is brought to you by D2C Design, your growth partner for high-performance e-commerce. If you're wondering what's holding back your Shopify store, D2C Design offers a free consultative conversion block report. That's right, no strings attached. Just contact them, set up a free call, and they'll break down exactly what your site needs. Again, D2C Design. All right, my next guest is somebody I've been trying to get on this show for a while. I'm really excited. He's what I call a hits maker. Why do I say that? He's a guy who's built amazing brands in women's apparel, eyeglasswear. He's doing some amazing things today with his new business, and he even had time to build an awesome nonprofit supporting cancer. In addition to that, he and I are personal friends, but I'm pretty excited about this interview because we were joking around earlier. It's like, I don't know enough about your your business career. You and I have shared beers, we've traveled, we hang out all the time, but I don't know about your origin story in the business community. So with that said, one of my favorite people, Dave, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate you having me.
Good to have you,
This is
bro.
great.
Yeah, man, this is gonna be fun. So you started your career, as I understand it, in consulting, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you you probably had a great job in consulting, working for all the big firms, and then when did you decide to pivot and get involved with Spanx?
Oh gosh, I decided. I don't think it was quite a decision. I would say actually Spanx literally found me.
Okay.
A little backstory is that Sara Blakely and I went to high school together.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so we went to high school together. She was a year ahead of me. She graduated, never saw her again.
Wow.
8 years later, I'm in the Leopard Lounge in Atlanta, and on this date, and my date goes, "Look at this girl with this handbag coming down the steps," and it's Sara.
Wow.
Like literally out of nowhere. And I go up, I say, "Hey, good to see you." And we start talking and we become fast friends again.
Mm-hmm.
I was still consulting, literally 3 cities a week, different beds every night. I mean, I didn't know much where I was going. And for me, at one point, I was like, I'm either going to quit my job, travel the world, or I'm going to start a business. But I had no idea what the business was.
Right.
And so then Sara came to me one day and she goes, "Hey, I have this idea for these footless pantyhose." And from my perspective, what did I know about it, right?
Right.
I didn't care, right? From my perspective, I didn't think anything of it. But what differentiates Sara from a lot of other people, she had an idea and she went with it.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, you have this idea, then let's get it made, right? And we went and found factories. Fortunately for us, the factories were in North Carolina. So being in Atlanta, it was just a short drive. And so she kept moving it forward. And that's how that kind of came about. So it was just serendipitous. And then it was a side hustle. So,
Really? For how long was it a side hustle?
Probably about 4 months.
Okay.
For probably 4 months. We basically sold it into like Neiman Marcus, Saks Fifth Avenue, and a handful of specialty stores. And then we're like, I guess, is it October of 2020? We said, I think it's time for us to quit our jobs. And we looked at each other, held hands, and off we went.
No way.
Yeah, crazy. 25 years ago.
And what gave you that confidence? At 4 months in, I mean, you got a good gig.
I mean, I think that when you're 20, what was I? Maybe 24, 25, maybe a little older than that.
Yeah.
I mean, I had money in the bank.
Right.
There was things I wanted to do. I also knew Sara was like a real go-getter, right? She could sell ice to Eskimos, big personality, had no idea where it was going to go. Gosh, I had no idea that we were going to get Oprah in 2 months later.
Is that really?
Yeah, literally. Like we literally quit our jobs and then we got on Oprah's Favorite Things.
How did you get on Oprah's Favorite Things?
So I want to tell an interesting story because like this is something I really talk about a lot. Is I think about, people are always like, gosh, how do you start a business and how did it happen and how do these miracles happen?
Right.
Like really miracles happen. And when I reflect back on Spanx, believe it or not, I believe Sara actually imagined everything in her head before the product even existed. Everything from the name to the packaging to where we were going to sell it. And what I mean by that is if you actually look at when we launched Spanx, it was bright red packaging, a funny name, which by the way, to this day, my roommate was like, that was the dumbest name. Right. And now like, boy, that was really smart.
Yeah, it's a great brand.
But the idea is that the bold red packaging made it stand out. Knew it needed a name that was going to kind of stand out as well, and was people were going to enjoy talking about. And of course, it was just a great product that delivered what I call demonstrable results, literally the before and after.
Right.
And so when it was time to go to market, Oprah, what does Oprah inherently do? She's looking for products that have real impact, that are going to be entertaining, and that are going to that she'll use herself. Right. So all Sara really needed to do was like design this in a way that really would feed to an Oprah world, and then get it in front of her. And so we did have some luck getting it to her, and getting it into her dressing room. But then once she saw it, it was like one of those things like, Spanx, oh my gosh, look at my butt. And literally was walking around the dressing room and talking about it. And so it was like, oh my gosh, miracles happen.
Right.
And I think that when you have significant alignment between where you're really, where your individual strengths are, and then also what your customers' inherent desires are, magic happens.
Yeah, magic happens.
Like Oprah was looking for products like this. Right. And it was just a matter of getting in front of her. And that alignment made things happen in ways that surprised.
So Oprah gets you on the show a couple months later, and then, I mean, do sales just take off like a rocket ship?
Yeah, for sure. Like literally, keep in mind, we also started this at the back of her apartment.
Right.
Like literally, we were probably almost a year in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment, running phone lines from downstairs apartment up the hallways. And her bedroom was the executive suite where like we had meetings, and then the back room was where we had the people. And we were pickpacking and shipping everything. And then Oprah calls, and we went from ordering like a few thousand pieces to, I remember placing 100,000 units. And be like, oh my God, we need 100,000 units. And the day of that we were on show, we did like $40,000 in one day.
So at that point, like you're bootstrapping, I'm assuming. Bootstrapping. How do you get the capital to fulfill those orders and purchase orders and stuff like that with all the different partners?
So when the business was really started, they really had a very low cost of capital.
Right.
Because how much could a pair of pantyhose cost? Right. And the first order was small. Then we were able to do a lot of different creative things with the manufacturers and some other opportunities that we had that allowed us to kind of scale it and be able to do it. But we also had the margins. Right. So like when you're starting a business, when we were thinking about Spanx, the questions come in. What's the distribution? Do we start at Neiman Marcus or do we start at Walmart, right? And it's a big difference, right? With Neiman Marcus, you could sell where margins. So if I sell one unit, I have enough to pay for 5 more.
Right.
Versus the other way on Walmart, that's capital intensive and high risk. Right. And so and we also knew that by starting at the high end, you could move go down market versus up. Right. It's harder to go up than it is to go down. But
who makes that decision? I mean, it's just you and her. And
literally, Sara and I literally sitting there having these conversations. Like, what market does it work? And it comes back to this whole envisioning what she wanted and what was going to work for her. Right. She was like, okay, I could see Oprah being a cornerstone of being able to drive awareness. Right. Wow. And then we thought through it, and it was like the Neiman Marcus and the Saks Fifth Avenue. Those are the trendsetters, right? Think times have changed. You know, everybody's like, oh, can I build a business like Spanx? The answer is absolutely not, because the landscape has changed.
Correct.
I was talking to the Neiman Marcus buyer 5 years ago, and she's like, yeah, back then we were incentivized to bring new products to the market.
Wow.
Now it was, no, don't take any risks, run the business by the numbers. And I think that I'm kind of diverging, but then you're seeing where the department stores are really losing their edge, in my opinion. There's nothing new.
There's nothing new.
There's nothing new. They're running a stale playbook that everybody's beat on. So, but I digress. But I think it just comes back to looking at what you have. A lot of times people will come to me and be like, well, I don't have this. I don't have the capital. I don't have the people. I don't have that. And I say, sometimes it's better just to embrace your constraints.
Yeah.
And stop focusing on what you don't have and think about what you do have. And you might be surprised at how it expands. We didn't have an audience. So Sara went and borrowed an audience. Well, it's easier for you to say, well, but she also imagined what Oprah needed and made sure what we offered her aligned completely.
Yeah.
And I often say you could do that with a vendor. You could do that with a banker, a supplier. But it's all about making sure that it's alignment.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things when I started What Next, the social health network, that I really learned the hard way was that when I launched it, the whole, think of it, let me give everybody a little background. What Next is kind of like LinkedIn for healthcare.
Right.
So instead of having a professional profile, you've got a medical profile, and we connect you to highly relevant peers, resource, and information. And it was really powerful because at the time I had an uncle that was dealing with brain cancer, 70 years old, and we were trying to make decisions about a certain treatment. And just going to somebody with brain cancer is irrelevant until you have somebody who's like facing end of life and the other decisions. And with What Next, you were able to literally in 2 seconds put your information in and get somebody that was like you or very similar and compare notes. But what was really interesting, and American Cancer, I was able to recruit the American Cancer Society, and we did it with the American Cancer Society. But what was really interesting was that at the end of the day, 90% of the people just wanted emotional support.
Really?
They didn't want to be as proactive as maybe you or I might be.
Yeah.
Maybe you've dealt with your parents on medical issues, and it's like, whatever the doctor says, I just go with it.
Yeah.
And so what I really learned from that was that, yes, it scratched my own itch, and yes, it was really powerful, but it wasn't what people were inherently doing. And when you're trying to get people to change behaviors from what they're inherently doing, it's really expensive. Right. But in the case of like, take a Facebook, right? Facebook, that when they're already inherently boys are trying to meet girls and girls are trying to meet, and now you just made it really easy. Right. So I always look at, when I'm looking at businesses, I'm always looking at how well are they aligned with what the consumer wants and the natural behaviors of the consumer.
Yeah, because it's interesting. You had, different than other entrepreneurs and business owners that we've had on here, which is like, I didn't know I had something until, like, you guys in the first year, you knew you had a home run here. You had a kind of a new category that you started. Obviously, people forget the power of Oprah 25 years ago. I mean, there was no social media, something she was, and to get on that Oprah's favorite thing was a home run for brands.
Absolutely. Very different than it is today.
Talk to me about scaling. So now you're a 2-3 person ops, and all of a sudden you got to take it to $100 million. What did that look like of just hiring people, playbooks, that kind of stuff?
Great question. So what was interesting was at one point, Sara said to me, okay, you're the CEO. I mean, let's keep in mind, I'm like 28, 30 years old, right? I'm like, okay, great. Here we go. And literally, to be quite frank, I didn't have the maturity to keep up with Sara's creativity and wanting to chase every shiny object and all that other stuff. And then also say, hey, we need to put the framework to place. Like, of course, I was doing consulting and I understood processes, the importance of all that. But I knew something was off. And so serendipitously, one day I'm literally at Saks Fifth Avenue delivering control top fishnets, and I run into a woman who's sitting there complaining about the fact we're out of stock. And I start talking to her, and turns out her name's Lorianne Goldman, who actually became our first CEO.
Wow, interesting.
So Lorianne was at Coca-Cola, and she's one of the most amazing executives I've ever come in contact with, because here she is at Coca-Cola, and she came in to an organization that had 7 people and was able to right-size her thinking in a way that allowed us to really thrive. And I can't stress how special that was, because I often talk to people like, oh, I just got somebody from Nike. I just got somebody from Under Armour. And every time a small company does that, it's always a disaster.
I agree with you.
Always a disaster.
Yeah. Well, by the way, we've done that here.
Right. It's always a disaster. And it's not because the person's not smart, not bright. It's just, there's a big difference running a $5 million company.
Right.
And so then Lorianne and I, behind the scenes, were actually business planning behind Sara's back. Not like conspiring, like in a negative kind of way.
Right.
But it was like, Lorianne was like, where are you going? What is your aim? What's the vision where you're going for? Because if you're not able to clearly communicate your vision, how are you going to tell other people that work for you what they're doing?
Right.
Because then everybody just becomes a bunch of order takers and you get no leverage.
Yeah.
Right. So we actually ended up doing very basic business planning. And once we kind of had it a little bit put together, we then brought Sara into the mix and said, hey, Sara, I'd like you to meet Lorianne. Here's what we've been working on.
Yeah.
And Lorianne had a phrase that was like, go slow to go fast. Because Sara, being a young entrepreneur, was always like, let's go. It's a waste of time to put a plan because it's just going to change. but you actually, you know what I'm going to tell you, which is once you actually have a plan, you know where you're going, and it gives you guardrails to go faster.
Sure.
Because we had all kinds of people coming at us with, hey, you should do bloomers, you should do this, you should do that. And it's interesting.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't align with your vision and where you want to be, it's easy to cut it out if you don't have those guardrails, when you have those guardrails. So Lorianne really became my mentor at the time. She took over sales and marketing, and I took on the operations. And so that's where we started building out, okay, how do we start doing planning? How do we start doing the financials, the rolling forecasts, all the important things that you need to do, but you have to right size it for the size of the business, right? There's something I always say is like, I always think of things on a scale of 1 to 10, right? And if you think about like operational excellence is Amazon, right? Operational excellence, that's a 10.
Yeah.
When you're a startup, maybe you're at a 2. And an accomplishment might be just getting you to a 4.
Yeah.
Based on your size.
Yeah.
And that's a big win.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you could analyze and paralyze all you want, but unless it's the dollars are worth it, it doesn't matter. Right. And I think that was what Lorianne's taught me. And that's something that I'm always talking to the different brands I'm working with is how do you right size what you need? Is the juice worth the squeeze? Right. I remember Sara and I would go meet with these PR firms, and they're like, you need a brand guide and it's $50,000. And we were just like, thank you, but no thank you. We laughed and moved on.
Yeah.
Yes, you need it, but you don't need $50,000 when you're not even doing $1 million in business.
Gee, so walk me through the rise, and then, you know, sort of when you departed and pivoted to Premier.
So it was interesting. Right when what happens, you might have seen this is right around somewhere around $10 million. Founders typically can really hack a business together and get to about $10 million, and the wheels start falling off. And that's because the business has to change. You have to hire more people. You have to get leverage. You have to put in different frameworks. Financials become more, you go down the laundry list. And that's exactly what happened with Spanx. In fact, we actually had a year where demand was so great that all the buyers overrode all the systems. And then all of a sudden they were stuffed. Sales were still good, but they still were stuffed. So literally we had we went from 4 million to 14 million, and then we were plateaued for a year. And then after that, then we kind of really ignited and started going at 100% a gear. And I think what allowed us to be really successful was, of course, you know, the biggest thing was Sara's a genius when it comes to marketing and connecting with people. And she also understood that, Oprah's only going to get you so far. That's going to last 6 months. And then you got to keep reinventing yourself and coming up with reasons to be in the media or whatever the case might be, which was kind of what Sara's magic was. But Lorianne and I literally were building an organization around Sara's zone of genius, right? And trying to allow her to thrive. So that's what really, every time Sara would do like the Rebel Billionaire, or she would do different things,
she was great.
Kept her in the audience and kept her relevant, right? And then the name, and then we'd do things with the Oscars. So it was always about trying to be relevant and trying to be current, right? And then that grew right around 150 million. It was time for me to leave. To be quite frank, it was where the business outgrew me. I just didn't have the maturity to really evolve with the business, which is very normal.
And you're still a young guy at this point.
Yeah, I was super young. I was 32, I think, right? Like something like that. Like I was a really young guy, right? So from my perspective, it was just time to leave. Took some time off, started a family, and then moved, and that's where I had the family issues with cancer. Started What Next, and did that for a long time. Like I said, that was more social good than it was economic. We were way too early. The other thing we noticed was that the biggest advertisers in the space were pharmaceuticals, but because most of our content was user generated, pharmaceuticals couldn't touch the pages.
Interesting.
Yeah. And actually, even though our technology was better, people like WebMD and other things didn't want to do it because it would have given their marketers too much insight to exactly who was visiting the pages versus, oh, this was a bot. Like we were able to say, this person with this stage of cancer was engaging for this amount of time, really powerful, which, versus I got this many page views. Right. So, but the lesson there was, it was more social good, and probably rode that business for longer than I should have.
Right.
Yeah, because you get vested in something and you're like,
Yeah,
it's
and
not
this is your
working. You don't
mission,
want to
and
let it go.
yeah, you had a lot behind it.
Yeah.
The eyewear. How did you get into it?
So then I was brought down here in Miami.
That's why you ended up
by private equity.
Yeah, right.
Right. Private equity
we had private equity to thank for you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Nice
yeah.
guys.
Typical situation. The company was Privé Revaux.
Yeah.
Founded by Jamie Foxx, Ashley Benson, other celebrities, and then this really maverick CEO, David Schottenstein, here in Miami. This is a guy that's all gas, like all gas.
I see a pattern. You have two, your first two founders that you work with are high octane.
High octane, but this time I was like, I had the maturity, right? Like this time I was like, okay,
yeah, you're a
I
veteran.
really knew how to really kind of wrangle him because he had a million different ideas. And back to the story of like, a million different ideas, but how do you figure out which ones are the best ones?
Right.
And then how do you protect the team from the madness, genius, whatever you want to call it, in a way that harnesses the best ideas, filters it to the team, and then you get to execute, right? And that was a really cool business because for that, we basically were able to design a business that created really irrational demand from our buyer.
Really?
So if you know the eyewear business, you've got Luxottica, who's like the 10,000 pound gorilla.
Right.
And with them, Saflo's like the number two. So like, you're like, I don't know, maybe Luxottica's 35 billion and Saflo's $1 billion. Right. So just
that the gap's that big.
Maybe it's big.
Yeah.
It's big.
Yeah.
And so Saflo had to figure out what were they going to do. And so they were basically buying up D2C brands. And so here we were. We knew how to deal with celebrities.
Right.
We were direct to consumer. We had QVC. We had unique distribution, and it just created this really feeding frenzy where it was like they're like, we need you.
Yeah.
And they acquired us, and that was amazing. We closed February of 2020. Talk about being lucky.
Totally.
Oh my
lucky.
God, yeah.
Dude, do the celebrity endorsements really help?
They do if they're authentic. Okay, so like what I mean by that is at the time, Jamie Foxx, by the way, is one of the hardest working celebrities out there.
Really?
And he is so nice.
Really good.
When he is on, he is on.
Yeah.
And he would do so much for the brand, beyond whatever we asked for, right? And he's he's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, he's super talented.
He's a good guy. He's super talented. But then we picked off some other celebrities, some other deals that weren't quite aligned with our existing audience, and they weren't as meaningful. I think that for a time there, everybody will talk about whether it's influencers or celebrities. And I think the best things to do is look for authenticity first and test the waters. Yeah. And see how it really resonates.
And are they going to work it?
Yeah. Are they going to work it? And do they want to work it? Right. Back to like, anytime when people are doing things for the money, it really doesn't necessarily resonate all the time versus something that's really authentic. I mean, Spanx and Oprah was a very authentic marriage. I mean, if you actually look at the history, Oprah talks about Spanx all the time because it was like everything, she wore them all the time. Yeah. Right. So it was extremely authentic. One time on the show, she's like, I should have stock in this company. Of course, it was privately held. There was no stock to be had. But like,
at that point,
yeah. So I think everything kind of comes down to authenticity, and today's customers can smell it.
They can smell it a mile away. You see it online, like whoever it is putting up an ad, or somebody who's just really using the product and loves it and supports it. Yeah, I've always heard mixed reviews. I have friends that are in the D2C space. Some say the same thing. A guy like Jamie Foxx works it, lives the brand, and then others are like, man, the guy won't pick up our call. He won't go to events. So it's a mixed bag. The payoff's big, but if it goes the wrong way, these guys want so much money and equity and all of a sudden you're like, ugh.
And we never did big crazy deals. Yeah. Obviously, because he was a founder, there was good opportunity for him out of the gates. But as it relates to all the other deals, we really were very creative in the way we approached it. But that also ran out of steam over time. Yeah. Right. It was like, oh, how do we get more and more? It doesn't feel like a very strong foundation because you don't necessarily control your destiny.
Correct.
Right. Yeah. So it's definitely valuable. It's kind of like the new earned media, right? Like with Spanx, we had the Good Morning, USA Today, all those things where it was really earned.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
weren't
yeah,
paid.
yeah.
Now
Yep.
it's all paid.
It's all paid.
But back then it wasn't,
Yeah.
right? And so that was real earned media. And today earned media is more just having relationships with influencers and key opinion leaders who are, whether you're building an ecosystem and there's value being able to do it. It's very interesting how fast the brand ecosystem and marketing ecosystem is changing these days.
Yeah, man. It's I'm bullish on. There's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur. Just because you can get, like, think about it.
Yeah.
Spanx before, you had to get into Neiman Marcus or Walmart, whatever. Like, if you want to sell your product, now I can, if you want to go D2C, but like, you can do it. Like, you and I can get into business today. You want to sell whatever widget, open up a Shopify store, or put it on Amazon and just get it out there.
Yep.
Not easy, but you can do it.
Yep.
You work for two dynamic founders and you use the term zone of genius. What do you mean by that term? What does that mean?
So yeah, it's not my term.
Okay.
It's based on a book where it's The Big Leap. And it's a great book, by the way. I'd invite everybody to read it. Basically, your zone of genius is like the stuff that comes easy for you. The stuff that like gives you an unfair advantage because you see things that nobody else sees. Right. You could be an engineer, you could be a creative, you could be an artist, you could be a visionary, whatever the case might be. But it's like, what is the stuff that you can do and you lose time on?
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, when I meet founders that have built good businesses, these are folks that felt like they had something that they had to get out of them. No matter how badly they didn't want to do it, or whatever the case might be, but they had an idea that they just felt like I had to do that.
Yeah.
And what happens is early on, it's easy to kind of play in this zone of genius, the thing that creativity that fueled you to do that. But then as the business grows, the noise grows.
Right.
The PE you get shit on. That's my phrase, by the way.
You should be doing.
You get shit on. You get shit on. You get shit on.
Yeah.
And I'm very careful these days not to should anybody, because I remember getting shit on all the time. Yeah. And so the noise grows, and then they lose connection with that zone of genius, and they lose the time to actually protect that. And really, one of the things I spend we haven't talked about what I've been doing, but like I spend a lot of time with founders that are really ambitious, that have really big visions, helping them really figure out how does that vision tie into their zone of genius? Because at the end of the day, if you're going to build a business, you better do it when it requires that you invest time in the things you love to do.
Right.
Last thing you want to do is start a gardening company and hate gardening.
Right.
That's not a good idea.
Right.
So, and then what happens is when they get to that $10 million plus range or whatever, the noise starts growing. And so it's like, how do you design and architect the business in a way that protects your time and allows you to spend more and more time on only things that you can do?
Yeah.
And you actually see it. If you actually look at brands that are rising above the noise, 9 times out of 10, it's because they have the founders that did something interesting, something different.
Right.
Like I was just looking, there's a La Cafe.
Yeah.
It's a coffee store. You know which one I'm talking about?
I know what,
Right. And what they do, they got on social media and they start going around saying, hey, you look amazing today, and recording people's videos. And that's what their ethos is.
Correct. Right.
It's like the brand soul.
Yeah.
And we were talking a few minutes earlier before the thing, we were talking about private equity buys it and then the brand kind of dies on the vine. It's because the soul leaves the body.
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of times the founder becomes the soul. Sara might not have been working in the business 24/7, but she was the soul, right, of the business. And I've seen it, and I've actually have conversations with a lot of private equity partners, and they talk about the importance of the founder
sticking around. Yeah, I agree.
And sprinkling the magic.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily a lot. And so many people think, oh my gosh, it's like, I got to work 80 hours. No, a lot of time it's more about like 1 or 2 really brilliant ideas, and then having a team that can then bring it to reality.
Yeah. Those high impact situations where they just have the pulse of that customer, or they know how this place runs, or like, I know that this spreadsheet says ABC, but I'm telling you, it actually operates this way.
Yeah.
There's, look, there is nuance of expertise in a certain industry or something that you've created, and then you have some outside force that goes, no, you need to do it, list this, jack up the price here and cut that, and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah. I was.
I think this is what private equity screws up.
Some
potentially.
Some
guys are fantastic.
I
right?
mean,
they clean up a lot.
TSG Consumer was the one that brought me down.
Yeah.
And they get it.
Yeah.
They get it. I mean, they had massive exits. They had It Cosmetics. Literally, they invested in at like 16 million and sold it for $1 billion,
Jesus.
like a 36 banger, right? But that was a husband and wife founder,
right?
They Sweetwater, like you just name it. These guys knew it, and Blythe, who was a partner, she just gets it,
right?
She's like, yeah, that's the founder's secret sauce, right? And how do you harvest that, and how do you cultivate that?
Mm-hmm.
Literally, I had a call with a CEO yesterday, $100 million brand that she sold to private equity, and now they brought her back in because it was failing.
Yeah.
But the challenge is there's so much noise. Yeah. You could just see that she was putting on a good face, but it was like she had the bankers, she had the private equity, she had the run in the company, and she just didn't have the capacity to get into her zone. I actually talked to her. I go, what's your zone of genius? Next thing you know, she lights up, and I'm like, see, you know the secret.
Yeah.
And she started talking to me about it, and it was really, this is what I really get geeked out on, right? It was like, she actually knew where it was, and she's like, well, how do I start putting these things in place? And I go, oh, and we started having a conversation about that, and it's how it's structural. And sometimes when you've got all the private equity, you're like getting shit on.
Yeah, right.
How many times have people told you, hey, Dan, you should do this?
Dozens.
And they don't know shit about your business.
Correct.
And I always tell founders, whenever I'm talking to them, I'll go, 2 things you should know.
Yeah.
1, nobody's going to know your business and what you should do better than you.
Right.
And if they do, then you're in the wrong business, because that means you don't have conviction about, or you don't have a real clear vision.
Right.
And that's another thing. You don't have a clear vision. People will paint it in for you when there's a gap.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is, always watch where the advice is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a bootstrap guy. Everything I've done, bootstrap.
Yeah.
If you're I'm going to go rise a mountain of cash and I'm going to swing for the fence guy, I'm not your guy.
I'm not your guy.
I don't know how to do that. I do, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah. I was a mentor at a tech incubator.
Yeah.
And I mentored a bunch of kids, and I had really great relationships. I learned a lot, but I realized really quick I wasn't their guy. Meaning, like, they started asking, raise capital from VCs. What do I present? And then I'll be like, how are you going to generate sales? Do you have a salesperson in the organization? Like, I'm thinking like a blocking and tackling guy. Like, who's in charge of sales? What is the P&L going to look like? Like that. They're like, I need to raise a lot of money so that I can do this. And I'm like, that's a different skill set. I'm not your guy. But if you want a good blocking and tackling guy, I'm definitely your guy.
Yeah.
You know?
No, exactly.
Totally agree. When you sit with one of these entrepreneurs, give me 2 or 3 things like right out of the gate that you lay out so that you can get the zone of genius out of them, and kind of like, what does that process and framework look like?
So, I mean, the first thing I'm always doing is getting to know them first on the person. What are you trying to accomplish?
Right.
What does, what are you trying to accomplish? What is your vision for the business? And sometimes they don't have it. They're like, I started the business, I got to where it is, but I don't know where to go from here.
Right.
Right. So then I go into, I do ask them a little about what is their zone of genius? What are the things that really excites them? Because the goal is trying to figure out, what are they trying to accomplish? What are their zone of genius? And then what steps afterwards do they need to be? And of course, you're going to do the typical thing. You're going to do the SWOT analysis, right?
Yeah, right.
You're going to pull out the P&L. You're going to see, I do a lot of consumer products, and everybody seems to start with the profit and loss. I actually start with the balance sheet, because in the case of consumer products, one of the biggest things that sinks a company is inventory. Inventory.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a methodology that's like, 1, I get to know the founder. I get to tease out where their zone of genius, where are the things that they really enjoy doing, then understanding where their vision is for the business. And sometimes they don't really know. And that's where what I think I love doing is, because I've seen so much that I'm able to approach it very agnostically, not from a banker's point of view. Right. Because I've got no incentive.
You're an operator.
I'm not trying to get them to invest with me. I'm not trying to get them. And so once I understand what they're trying to accomplish, what their zone of genius is, and then understanding where the gaps are with everything, then you start kind of creating a roadmap. And it's not a book.
No,
It's just, it's literally PowerPoint with a few bullets on it that says, on this area, here's what we're going to do, because it creates a North Star. And then depending on the size of an organization, it depends on how much documentation you need, and then how do you distribute it out to the rest of the organization.
What are you seeing CPG brands doing wrong now? So the dynamic of the world has changed from 25 years when you were selling through Neiman Marcus to today. You and I can set up a Shopify store and get going.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I'm not sure it's a matter of what's doing wrong, but what you're seeing is you're getting, the landscape's gotten so competitive that now you have to be really good. And what I mean by that is, if you look at some of the bigger brands like Blender's Eyewear, but they do D2C brand, right? These guys started their brand right when you could get free reach on Facebook. Right. You didn't have to pay for it. You could do it through really interesting organic stuff, but they gave them scale. And then everybody and their brother saw that. And now there's a gazillion eyewear brands, D2C. So now the cost of media is up and everything else. So I think that if people are trying to do the same playback over and over again, the puck is moving, and it's moving fast. So I think that if you're in CPG land, your challenge is how are you going to think differently and come up with marketing things that rise above the noise, whether it's the La La Cafe or others, versus, oh, I'm going to do another shoot and I'm going to put out images of my coffee or my clothes and nothing interesting. It's got to be everybody. Like my wife's got a fashion brand, right? And everybody and their brothers doing content that's lifestyle aspirational. It's beat.
Correct.
It's beat.
Correct.
Right. Obviously, my wife's got a different perspective on it, but my point is, it's beat and everybody is doing it, so everything looks the same. Same thing with influencers. The influencers thing, the ball is shifting. Everybody is an influencer now. Yeah. And the only time influencers are really now working is, like I'm seeing, is almost a spray and pray. What I means like that is, like, it's great for food products or low cost widgets because you could give it out to thousands of people and get a few hits. I mean, I know very small influencers that, like, they get more stuff in the mail now than ever. And they have so much. How are they going to choose to post?
We got one here,
right?
And he gets a ton of stuff.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And it's like they have no space to post. I don't see that as very effective.
I don't see it as effective.
And you're seeing new things come back, like guerrilla marketing's coming back. Literally standing on the street. Have you tried my bar? Well, Trivani's here in town, right? They do so much stuff that's kind of in that guerrilla marketing early days.
It's dipped into politics. You can laugh all you want about Mandani, the new mayor in New York. That guy went man on the street and started interviewing people, like the falafel trucks. Why has your falafel gone up 70%? Why? Like, he just started that, and it was done on his iPhone with one of his buddies, and everyone laughed at him. I go, look, you cannot like his politics, whatever. That guy knows how to market, like the best of them. And his messaging was right. He was like, look, I don't care about these foreign wars. I'm the mayor of New York City. And I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna worry about who's picking up the trash, the cops, your affordability. Again, I don't share his beliefs, but that guy's got skills. And that is, I think, taken right from that influencer marketing world, and he put it into politics. And it hit a home run with young people. They loved it because that's how they want to be communicated. Not on CNN and the old school. I'm going to give you a long speech. It's grassroots guerrilla marketing, little of the TikTok flavor. One of the ones I was going to ask you was TikTok in general, and just like TikTok Shop. That's the avenue that I've been just exploring a lot, and I find it fascinating. Like how much merchandise, because it's this QVC plus influencer plus literally now they're setting up stores within a store of like, you're selling your widget and I'm next door in a booth setting mine. And I'm like, oh my God, what a business. This is amazing. What exposure have you had? What are your thoughts?
So I think it depends on what you're selling. And I think it's getting to be a bigger and bigger platform. Here's what the landscape looks like from what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing is that it's really easy to get reach. Just like Facebook was really easy to get reach early on, right? Before they started dialing it out.
And the App Store.
So one, it's able to do that. And two, people are really, it's for entertainment value. It's like a new form of TV. Like my kids don't watch TV anymore. They just sit on their phone, but that's their TV. And I think that a friend of mine here does cleaning products, and he crushes it on TikTok, but he has a TikTok store that's probably break even. But what happens is probably about 50% of people on TikTok see a product and then they go to Amazon.
Interesting.
And then they end up buying it on Amazon. So it becomes almost like a marketing channel for Amazon. But reason why he's killing it is because he was doing influencers on TikTok where for him, a brand's not that big of a deal, right? And this woman was taking a boat cleaning product and using it in a house, and she was entertaining and funny, and it went viral.
Right.
And so for him, he just gives it to them and says, "Do whatever you want."
Yeah.
And whatever they come up with, and that's the beauty of like creativity.
Yeah.
And like harnessing the power of crowds. So when you don't have a brand that is controlled, my wife's brand being a fashion contemporary that sells at Revolve and Saks is very different than a cleaning product.
Right.
But depending on your product and what you're trying to get at, I mean, I'm on it because yes, a lot of my brands are on it, but man, the amount of content that you could learn.
It's fantastic.
It's fantastic.
Fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just get nuggets of things that cause me then to go to my friend ChatGPT, right? But like everybody goes there.
And it makes you go down a rabbit hole of just, I want to seek this information. No, it's brilliant. What are you working on these days?
Oh my gosh. I am.
A lot. You and I talk all the time.
I mean, the thing that I really am enjoying is like, I have a handful of brands that I work with. Yeah. I kind of see myself a bit as a business architect, right? Yeah. It's understanding, once again, what they're working on, where their vision is, and then helping them figure out how to architect both the people, the processes, and the resources they need to get it done. I don't turn wrenches or swing hammers, but I actually help align all the resources, make connections, and help make sure the execution happens. And then on top of that, I'm really kind of diving into this whole belief that I have where it's like, when you really are tapping into your highest self, and then you channel that toward what your customers organically want, truly success is inevitable.
Yeah,
it really is. But it's not until you really step into your power. And what that means is like, there's so many people that have great ideas, but they're too afraid to take the step. And sometimes when you think about it, if you look at what Sara did, people told her, no red packaging. That's a bad idea. She changed an industry, not just for hosiery, but everybody. Yeah. Have you seen the supplement space? It looks like a beauty aisle.
1,000%. Yeah.
Spanx, 2000. Yeah. I think she didn't set out to do that.
Right.
But like so many things, calling it Spanx.
Yeah.
Going on national TV and having anchors say Spanx and spank butts.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
And shake her bottom.
Yeah.
That takes courage. Yeah. That takes knowing this is who I am, and I am going to show up at the biggest way. Like I have this belief that abundance, success, our value all stems from how well we show up.
Yeah, for sure.
How well we show up as who we are, whatever that might be. And then you do that and you align with goodness and gratitude and all the other stuff. It's a wonderful life, but it's so scary because people get scared to say, maybe I'm not good enough. But then they die asking that question.
Yeah.
And you know what somebody says, life's not a dress rehearsal.
Right.
You might as well find out.
Yeah, man.
Because 9 times out of 10, there's something telling you to go for it.
Yeah.
So go for it. What do you have to lose?
Think about your journey, Spanx.
I know.
You quit a good job at 25 years old or whatever it was to take a leap of faith in a product that you don't wear, you don't use. It's not like, whatever. But you took that leap and look where you ended up. I mean, it was a home run.
I was very fortunate. Life has been good to me, and I get to work with some amazing founders. And I have a variety of companies in my portfolio company. I've got a lingerie company. What do I know about lingerie? But you know what's great about this company? Yeah. It's a woman out of Utah, Mormon, that was like, it's too risque to go to Victoria's Secret, so it's all model free. And I'm like, but it works.
But it works, right? It works.
And so if somebody could make money doing that, or the movie It's Christmas Time, right? It's a Wonderful World.
Yeah.
This guy was obsessed with it, and what did he do? It's out of Ohio, I think.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they have a house it's a wonderful life.
Yeah.
And he built a multi-billion-dollar business, and people turn around.
Isn't that crazy?
If you could make money doing that, you can make money at anything.
Absolutely, man.
It's in you.
It's in you.
It's in you.
All right.
All
Couple non-business questions.
Yep.
3. The future of Miami. You moved down here a couple of years ago. You're a South Florida guy now. What does Miami look like in the next 10, 15 years? You and I met through the wave of the COVID transfer of folks. What do you think Miami looks like?
That's a tough one, because what you want to say is it's going to rival New York, or it's going to rival a major city. But the reality of it is, I think because of the lifestyle and the level of entertainment, I'm not sure it's ever going to be there.
Agree.
But I do think that what the mayor's doing with like branding it the capital of capital is smart, because the wealth has moved down here. It's getting insanely expensive. But at the same time, it's for a reason. I mean, LA, the water's cold. Here, the water's warm.
Right.
Everything you want is outside your door.
Right.
Now you're getting better and better businesses out here.
Agree.
And I think that it's going to keep getting better. I remember moving in 18, and it was like, what do you do? And it was like, you get a long sentence. Import, export, Vandalay businesses, Vandalay industries.
A little bit of real estate.
Now it's like legit people. I bought this company. I sold this company. I did this. Literally really high quality people. And I think the more we can attract good people, the better.
Yeah.
It's tricky because right now, my wife's brand, we set up shop in New York because we can't find the people, the skills.
Really?
We can't find, there's not enough design talent. There's not enough. It's in New York, it's a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
And it could be
comes with, it's the same one like San Fran. I mean, the reason the AI boom is back in San Fran is because just the talent's there. I mean, you got the greatest universities in the world. You and I have talked about this 100 times. It's like I'm bullish because of guys like you, meaning a lot of guys still in the prime of their careers. They've either had an exit or still have an operating business. And a lot of guys that, have 10, 20, $50 million companies, and they go, look, I want to make Miami my home. In the past, you've always seen, uber rich guys, but that come down here to retire. So a guy that's 75 years old and uber rich, that guy doesn't want to invest in anything. He wants to buy a big boat and hang out on the water. So I think our better days are ahead. I think it's more, you're right, just like the capital, you're going to get a lot of hedge funds, private equity kind of guys. I don't see the massive big employers moving here. Like, they're moving to Austin or Nashville or,
But there's no space.
There's no space. So we're never going to get, call it a division of Oracle that has 10,000 employees moving here.
Yeah.
But what we can is we can hatch our own. Yeah. The key is, can we get the schools to improve? I think some of the infrastructure, the train system, that sort of stuff, and then affordable housing. Housing's gotten kind of goofy.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. You get those three, Miami's next 25 years are going to be
schools
awesome.
are coming. I
think schools are coming too. Yeah, I agree with you.
It's a long investment. It doesn't
takes
happen
a long
overnight.
Time. It takes a long time.
I think they've got to deal with the traffic. They've got to deal with public transportation. Like where I'm at over on 96th Street Bridge area, it's just like they keep putting up buildings and they're doing nothing to make it roads bigger.
Nothing, dude. I mean, you and I booked this appointment today here in Doral for a reason because you're like, I got to get out of here because of the traffic. And I'm like, why doesn't the Metro come here or to Kendall down to Homestead? There's so much congestion. So if they can do that. And then the schools, I had this conversation the other day with somebody who's involved in high school and on here. And they're like, the problem is housing for teachers.
And that's the other thing, affordable housing.
Yeah.
But that's a big issue
everywhere. Yeah, agree.
Let's Aspen, New York, here, like we're Miami. Like let's those are our neighborhoods. Those are our backyards.
Those are our backyards. Yeah, we got it.
But there are a lot, it's interesting. When I first moved down, I'm like, wow, the Miami's got the highest number of wealthy unemployed. But now you actually have wealthy, unemployed, qualified people. Mm-hmm. That are like literally chomping at the bit and bored.
Yeah. Right.
That are bored.
Right.
That are looking for things to do that if they actually saw the right opportunities, they would put their energies in.
We're friends with all of them.
Yeah. I mean, literally.
We see them every week.
Yeah. And these are people 50s, 40s, 50s,
very talented.
60s. Yeah. And I'm not sure they're ready to go for the grind because they still need to go to Aspen and all the other things.
Correct.
But they have a wealth of wisdom that I think they would love to share.
Yeah. All right, 2 more questions. You're the first guy that gave me the use case for NFTs a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Where do we stand with NFTs, and what do you think the futures of NFTs are?
So let's qualify this. I was working with 11 Hospitality, right? As you know that. And they had a potential path to kind of create value from it, from the standpoint of kind of like a club or services or whatever the case might be. but I think it had to really be innovative. And the problem is with NFTs in that form of entertainment, because there's no subscription, there's no reoccurring revenue, it's extremely hard.
Right.
So I think that's one of the reasons why the value piece of it fell apart. Right. I think now I would take the NFT and think about it more just like tokens.
Yeah.
And looking at it from the standpoint, from that perspective, tokenizing things, and you're going to see huge disruption because of stable coins with like Visa and MasterCard. Those are the obvious things.
Yeah.
I think as it relates to collector's items and other thing, I think that's tricky. I was just having a conversation with a friend. I haven't thought about this in like Bored Apes and like what's going on with that.
Yeah.
Right. It's tricky.
It's tricky.
It's tricky.
But I mean, I think for artists and stuff, like they can collect royalties on this stuff down the road. Again, I don't know where it's at. Maybe it's it goes the way of comic books and baseball cards, where it goes dormant for 20 years, but then all of a sudden, boom, it ticks back up.
Well, it's a collector item.
It's a collector item. Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm drawing a blank, but it's not the Bored Ape. But what's the one that was predecessor to that?
Was it the Bevel? The Bevel was the guy, the big artist.
Bevel, but it's the It's the one that's like literally was pixels.
Yeah, right.
I can't.
I know.
But yeah, whatever that was.
Yeah,
but that came out way before the NFT boom.
Right.
And so back to your point of like it goes dormant because that came out before all Bored Apes and everything else. But it got hot because it was almost like the original NFT, right? So yeah, it's interesting, but I just don't see it coming back.
Okay, one last question. Padel.
Yeah,
you and I both play.
Yeah.
The future of padel. Does it go the racquetball way? Does it go to tennis? Where do you think we end up with padel?
I think that, should we bet?
Let's bet.
How do we measure that? I think it's going to continue to grow. I don't know if it's going to get much bigger than pickleball. And because here's the thing, is it's expensive.
Exactly.
Like you don't find it in Vail.
Right.
Like I have a friend whose dad lives in Vail. He's like, I want to play there, but no, they can't afford it. It takes up too much space.
Yeah, good point.
And it takes up too much space, and there's a lot of people out there that are retirees, and it's expensive. And I think that it's also got an age cap. I think it's going to continue to grow. I think it's going to be will it be as big as tennis?
No.
I'm not sure it will.
No.
Will it be bigger than pickleball? Probably, because it's much more. Pickleball feels like patty cake to me. Yeah. Right. I think I'd much rather play paddle than tennis because you don't have to be as good. It's not as technical.
Correct.
Right.
It doesn't beat up your body as much.
But the problem is it does beat up your body.
Yes.
Yeah. Like here I am. I'm in the 50s, right? And I'm just like, oh, my body's breaking down. But it forces me to keep my body more bulletproof.
Yes.
Stretch, micro muscles, all those types of things.
I think underrated thing when people talk about social connection are, call it sports that you do with friends as you get older. Because most people, by the time they're 18, they don't play another sport.
Yep.
So social connection. I do like that they have this, in a weird way, country club feel, meaning like, and they're building the courts this way, where you also want to hang out and have a coffee after and have an ice bath, or you hang out there, because that's the magic of golf. Yeah, you love playing golf, whatever, but that I get to spend 5 hours with my buddies or a client, like that is very powerful. This is a hybrid, right? I don't have to spend 5 hours. We play for 90 minutes, and then after for 30 minutes we bullshit or whatever. And if you can make it a cool environment that you hang out, there's a lot of I think opportunity for it to stick. The other thing is the penetration in major markets is other than Miami, New York, it's still not as like Chicago. I think they got like one court, Nashville, one court, like one nice court, call it. So in the rest of the country, it just hasn't taken off. So I think it's got a lot of room to run.
But it is.
It is. Yeah, slowly. Yeah.
I was shocked the other day. I got an email about Padel in Atlanta because that's where I used to live. I was like, oh my gosh. I think you're absolutely right about that. Yeah. Be able to connect and kind of like the social aspect. Yeah. And the wives can participate. I just had a big event this weekend and it was great. Yeah. Like everybody had a great time. So yeah, I was trying to think of something you were just saying that built on that piece, but it is interesting country club perspective. Yeah. Right.
And I think that's the vision for a lot of these developers that are putting these things together is like, okay, I don't want you just to go, because pickle's very transactional, right? They have public courts and stuff. This is like, I want you to stick around, hang out, have a beer with your friend, you know, whatnot, and make it a kind of a lifestyle. But amigo, this was fun.
Awesome.
Where can people find out about you?
You know what? It's simple, old school. David Wasilewski at LinkedIn. You could go there. That's the easiest way to find out about me. And you know, if you guys have a company or somebody, I love talking to people about their companies and what's going on.
You're also a great LinkedIn follow. So you post great stuff.
I just started doing that,
and you've been
actually.
really good. I mean, the last couple of posts that you've been posting have been fantastic. Yeah, look, guys, follow him on LinkedIn. He's great. He's a great guy. I've known him for many, many years. Very talented executive. If you're a CPG brand, D2C brand, or just want to follow up a great LinkedIn poster, this is your guy. Thanks for doing this.
Dan,
I learned so much about you today.
Oh my gosh, I know.
I hang out with you all the time. I barely knew you.
I know. Every time we get to know each other even better. I love that. I mean, you're
stuff.
such a great guy, Dan. You're
Thanks.
such a great connector. I didn't even ask you. What is your zone of genius?
I don't know. You tell me. You know me. Well, I hope you know me at this point.
I mean, I do. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like you really thrive and get energy around being around people.
Yeah.
And connecting people.
Yeah.
And finding ways to kind of generate value.
Yeah.
As it relates to the professional side, as it relates to whether you're an amazing problem solver or amazing designer systems, I don't know enough about that aspect of your business. But what you know of me, I think you hit it on the head. I'm a people person. I like to build good ecosystems. I like to pay it forward. I like to, I never like the term, but people go like, collector of people. Mm-hmm. And I like to just surround myself with, nothing bad ever happened when you surround yourself with great people, right? Yeah. Only good stuff happens. And so you can learn, you can help make a connection, whatever role I fit in there. And if I can help facilitate that, remember the other night, I'm all for it and I enjoy it. So that's the best part. Yeah. That's what I'm getting at is you don't want to don't tie you to a desk.
Definitely don't tie
you to a desk. Right. And that's the thing that people find themselves into a lot of times is that because they can do it.
Yeah.
And they've gotten praised for doing these things, they keep going back to things that don't serve them.
Correct.
Right. And so for you, you're finding that the more you lean into the connections, the things like the podcasts, and the more it fuels your business.
Yeah.
Right. And ways we just spoke earlier about it. You didn't know that certain things were going to happen, but sometimes you just trust that it's this feels right. I need to do it. And what's interesting too, is I've had to go through a lot of administrative BS lately, and I notice my energy goes and I get irritable. And so one of the biggest ways you know when you're on track is how you feel.
100%.
I mean, you could get spiritual, whatever, but it's literally if you're trying to make a decision, here's a fun thing to do. You might do this. I'm sorry, we're going on.
No.
But a lot of times, sometimes somebody's trying to make a really tough, difficult decision.
Yeah.
And I say to them, okay, I tell them a story that's story A, story B. And I go, which one of those made you lean in? Which one of those generated energy for you?
Yeah.
I go, that's probably the one you need to do. And it's amazing. Our bodies know.
They totally know, man.
And sometimes though, it takes somebody else from the outside telling you the story of A or B. And a lot of times just talking it out. You ever sit there and you're talking to somebody and then they're all of a sudden you're like,
I just
that was a silly question. I just answered my own question, right?
All the time, dude.
All the time.
Well, I mean, I do it as one of my scorecards for interviewing people. And it's if I don't walk away from that interview with the feeling of I'm excited to maybe work with this person, learn more about them, or if this person walked out of here and took another job with someone, would I be bummed out or would I not give a shit? And usually that's the answer of okay, we gotta pursue this person. Let's continue this conversation.
That's a good one.
Where you get energy from people or things, that's where you need to go and double down on it. But awesome. My man, this was fun.
Awesome, buddy. Thank you so much, brother.
Once again, I want to thank our sponsors, D2C Design, your design firm for anything related to Shopify, e-commerce, and your website needs. Again, you can find them at d2cdesign.com. Thanks.